I
know
think
anything about
well,
Indiana? You don't know anything about Diggs and Cap
yeah,
Appleton?
I know a little bit about it.
All right, let's
Unsupported.
go. Let's go. Wednesday, February 19th. We're live. Digital Roundtable. Woo! I hope you all had a fabulous Friendship Day, Valentine's Day. It is nippy cold in Texas, beyond cold. It's beyond cold everywhere in the US. So we have a great guest today. Before we get rolling, let's have our own John Sibley Butler play some intro music.
They're working while I'm missing you. Those healing hands of time. Soon they'll be dismissing you from this heart of mine. They'll see me safely through the night. I'll follow as though blind. My future tightly clenched within those healing hands of time.
All right. Thank you, Johnny.
I wasn't aware that I'd have to bring my trombone as well, or my piano.
Next time.
Yeah, a little heads up would help out.
Well, I want to know, Brian, that trombone shorty married in my family, and I played trombone in the LSU Tiger Band for 4 years.
No way. Southern University.
And my brother was a drum major at Southern for a year, and my father played in Southern's band, and my other brother played trumpet in Southern's band. Boom, 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 da dum, boom, ba dum, ba dum, ba dum, ba dum, boom. Give me that good old Jaguar spirit. Give me that. I know
All
it
right.
all.
I see we're gonna have some fun today. I
Yeah, we're
appreciate
gonna have some fun. Yeah, and I wrote that pregame. When I was at LSU, the pregame. We wrote that for the band, right? And by the way, we showed Southern out. We took y'all to the trip last when we got together on the field. It was the LSU's day.
All right. Yeah, I love
But anyway,
So
how you
Johnny,
doing?
I wanted to highlight, Johnny, before we get rolling here with our wonderful guest, that we have enough energy for the grid. It's cold, everybody's connected, everybody's trying to heat up their homes. We have enough juice for 100 gigawatts. So we're usually hovering around 75 to 85 gigawatts, and we have enough energy for 100 gigawatts. And at 4 o'clock, we may hit 100 gigawatts. So we have a reserve right now of 13 gigawatts. So it's looking good. The grid's looking good. The governor did a good job of sort of rattling things and getting everybody, ready for the weather and all that. So that's a good thing. And then Johnny, I know you were recruiting for the disruptive CNBC Disruptive 50. Maybe you want to talk about it, but tell us a little bit about what's on your mind, what's going on this week, and then we get rolling here.
Well, let me just address the disruptive technology CNBC. I've been on that group for at least 10 years now, and allows us to look at the best ideas and the best technologies companies that's coming out. And so CNBC, that was really started by a good friend of George Kosmeskis, who was my mentor at the University of Texas at Austin. CNBC has come up with the idea that we can showcase the best entrepreneur firms in the world. And there's a process where you apply to be one, and then there's a committee of us that select them. And the emphasis is on not necessarily traditional business enterprise. It's on technology. It's on technology transfer. It's on the whole idea that the future will be jobs will be provided and wealth will be created, of course, by the best technologies in the world. What we've learned in America, of course, in the last number of years is this. As I would tell my MBA students, that wealth and jobs start with science and technology and not management, accounting, and finance. So it's true how we built Austin, Texas, when we switched to Austin from a city with no opportunities except the University of Texas and state government and some other institutions, we put science and technology first. You can nominate it. It's a great thing. And let me tell you, for your company, the atmosphere and the advertising is absolutely fabulous. We'll probably meet there in 2025. And if you just go through those, Andreas, you can see some of the best startups that we've done. For example, OpenAI should be there. And that was one of mine. And another one I like, WIX, it should be there. I
Mm.
think it was MONZA should be there. But what we have to do in America is stay ahead of the technology curve for the invention, if you will, of new ideas and new jobs. So that's always a great task every year. It's a great thing to do. I'm happy to be associated with it. And as you know, we can bring those to the 512 CNG and to interact with them. On the grid, yeah,
Absolutely.
I saw that the governor gave a big announcement in the paper the other day that the grid would be fine. You know, I've been working for the last 10 years with Richard Scrindle and yourself on grid controls. I think that whereas in Texas we have concentrated on bringing new things online, right, a generation rather than how do you control things. So we've been working on the control systems. But I think we will always will be warm. We hope things things don't go bad. You know, as a Southern Louisiana boy, I didn't have a generator. So so my brother said everybody in Louisiana has a generator. So 2 years ago when everything went south and we had snow, my brother said, I don't understand why you don't have a generator. Well, the wife is from Ohio, so she made me go out and buy a generator. You know, I said, well, we won't have another snowstorm. And then I'm from the North Shore of New Orleans, and they were saying we don't believe that you have a generator, but I have a generator now, and I think everything is fine. Andreas, I've also been having a lot of interaction with what's going on in America in
Hmm.
terms of what the administration is doing, and from a humanistic point of view, you sort of look at the lives that are being touched as people are being fired. From a waste point of view, you've got to say within all the chaos, maybe there will be some discovery of some waste. But I think it's very
Hmm.
interesting how it is being done. I think it's being treated like a company. As I said before, where if you fire somebody, then you can increase the stock market. But America is a big 501c that would do great things for people around the globe. So I've had, of course, a lot of interaction with the administration, and
Hmm.
it's a lot. It's absolute a lot of stuff going on there. And if you look at the country, I think it's total sort of chaos. Whenever you disrupt something, there's always a lot of chaos. So it's interesting to me as a scholar, first of all, as a researcher, to look at the impact of the disruption of government. You know, I can talk about how Sears and Roebuck was disrupted by Amazon. I can talk about how many companies have been disrupted as we went from horses and buggies right to this combustion engine and et cetera. But disrupting a government
Hmm.
is a new kind of thing. So I'm sure since we're a big 501c, there was some waste. Uh,
Oh yeah.
and I've been working with Texas there, and also my home state of Louisiana, and I'm on the foundation board at LSU, and trying to look at the new technologies as the country is disrupted. What does it mean for research? And that's been in the news. What does it mean for the National Science Foundation? And what we
Hmm.
do know, Andreas, is that for the last since the mid '80s, most of the research was given to what they call major research universities. So the university
Hmm.
would do $1 billion in research. And so questions are being asked, okay, is that research getting out for new products, for new kind
Yeah.
of businesses to create jobs and to create wealth, to create salaries. Uh, I spoke
Yeah.
I spoke down at the we had a cigar thing down at home on St. Charles Street, been there since the 1800s, late 1800s, and spoke down on St. Charles and had a great time there, meeting a lot of old friends. I told them I'm not coming back anymore because they know too much about me and they know too much on me. But anyway,
Yeah.
one of the things with discussion is, what are we going to do with research? I mean, are we going to continue to fund research? Are we going to take research away from private research universities and put it back into to the private sector, or are we going to do like we did the expressways? I mean, there's no return on investment with expressways. And government
Hmm.
made expressways for military purposes, but certainly changed the entire pattern of business interaction, across the country. So I've been very, very busy with startups. I've been very, very busy with the grid. I've been very, very busy with 512 CMG. As you know, we have been talking to entrepreneurs, but it's been an
Yep.
exciting time. It is a different time in America. I've never seen a disruption of the government like this in my lifetime in America.
Yeah, I think it's exciting. I think it's going to be great because rattling the cage and forcing people to justify things is a good thing. It's a good exercise. I wanted to before I introduce Brian, I wanted to talk about one of my aspirations to get from Brian his take on changes, and AI is everywhere. And I went to CES in January and it was everywhere, dominating. And you have all these tools and some people say, Jensen Huang, the CEO of Nvidia, says that it's not that AI is going to take your job. It's the next person knowing how to use AI that is going to take your job. So there's all these tools, right? You have Synthesia and ChatGPT, everybody knows, and Claude and Script and Fireflies and Gemini. I've been using Gemini lately. I totally dig Gemini. Grammarly is really cool. There's all these tools. There's thousands of tools. So I'm curious, Brian, as I introduce you here real quick, your thoughts on how are you leveraging the sort of the transformations that are happening in your business and so on. So we're delighted to have Brian Diggs, the founder at Web Apps America, with us. And Web Apps is a design and development company that crafts unique web, mobile, immerse, and business software solutions. And they have a great team of creatives and graphic designers and software engineers and cybersecurity specialists. Big, big, big challenge going forward, and consultants. So, Brian, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me, Andreas and John. And John, amazing introduction, in terms of succinctly defining, what the past 150 years from history, economies, societies, and technology has looked like, right? I mean, we are living in a digital revolution, right? And, one of my favorite books, The Technology Trap, essentially talked about, from pre-industrial revolution, agricultural revolution, second revolution, et cetera, how different, societies basically dealt with technology and the technology of their day. And initially, there was some pushback, but then the idea that these were, enabling technologies and not replacing technologies basically became the pervasive thought. The people of the time potentially, were scared by, things that potentially replace their jobs. I mean, think about, we used to have elevator operators. That was their sole source of income, right? And now we have, mechanical elevators and electric elevators and everything else, under the sun, that a person doesn't need to do that job anymore. And so when you start to talk about artificial intelligence, automation, robotics, these things can seem like very scary terms, right? But what it is that we're trying to do is impress upon people how to engage with these tools, how to adopt them. Admittedly, it can be overwhelming. You just named about 10 or 20 tools that I still need to learn, right? But we have fully embraced the usage of these different technology tools, not only because it helps us as a business, but also because we become the leaders and the educators of now and the future. And, by using and exercising these different tools, we essentially can help people on board and have a smoother transition to essentially the digital age, the digital transformation age that we're living in. Again, John, I was really impressed with the historical breakdown that you did in about 5 minutes. You jump from, government disruption to infrastructure build out, to education and research, and how that's being displaced in some areas. Even, you talked about like industry and business. We used to have scientists and engineers, like you said, who were the heads of these corporations, back 40s, 50s, and 60s. I'm a big fan of history. And, that kind of got displaced and replaced, by the finance guys and the Wall Streets and, the stakeholders who essentially saw an opportunity and took advantage of that opportunity. And so now the question is, how do we put the leverage maybe back on our side? How do we take advantage of some of these opportunities that are in front of us right now? And web apps is dead smack in the middle, right? Of talking about what does web technology look like? What does Web 3.0 look like? What is the mobile application solutions that people could be using today, tomorrow? What's an immersive reality experience? What is that word, right? We are really ingratiating that conversation. We're leading that conversation. And so it's just a pleasure to, have that conversation with you guys today.
I think
Sure.
it's exactly right. I think as a well, because I'm a professor and I have to sort of integrate things into the analysis, and you're absolutely right. And you're sitting here with my good friend here who created the grid here, the smart grid, and things have always changed. And right now we are in a communication, as you know, in your business, that's absolutely outstanding. And the web page now is it. I can remember telling somebody that you need a web page, and they said, "Why?" So you're exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. I mean,
So Brian, walk us through a little bit about maybe some of your interesting projects or customers or any of the new areas of technology that you guys are dabbling on, metaverse and virtual stuff, virtual reality, augmented reality. And I mean, I'm fascinated by the fact that sometime soon I'm gonna have my own agent doing work for me. So tell us a little bit about what's happening behind the robes there, right, in your company. Like how are you hiring people? How do you keep up? I mean, it sounds like incredibly dynamic space.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you said at the beginning, it never stops, right? The
Mm-hmm.
opportunity and the amount of work never stops. At Web Apps, we started out in 2015 as Web Apps LA, Los Angeles, California, kind of
Mm-hmm.
the hub of innovation, right? And, I started the Texas branch in 2016. And, we've had a really storied history, in terms of our engagement with different types of businesses. Primarily starting with the startups, helping them build some basic infrastructure, websites, email marketing, some graphics and branding. And over time, just really starting to get involved in multiple industries, from agriculture to the institutional university space, to real estate, to all the way to, architecture, engineering, and construction, right? And so what we essentially were doing was saying, hey, we've been able to talk to a healthcare service provider and understand the different type of technology solutions that they could use, right? But also understand that somebody at that level probably is an enterprise business that needs an enterprise solution. You need engineering, you need KPIs, you need product roadmaps, you need intellectual property conversations, you need somebody that's talking like a CTO, right? Whereas if I'm dealing with somebody who's a solopreneur, an entrepreneur, a startup business, that's far beyond what they need. They need the website, right? They need, maybe the ideation during the ideation period of a mobile app, right? And being able to translate from a startup business to a growth company to an enterprise solution has been kind of our fine point, where we've been able to meet people where they are and deliver technology solutions there. So, if I'm talking again with a enterprise company, I might be saying, hey, how can we do some pilot programs, right, to introduce artificial intelligence into your workflow? Not necessarily saying blow your entire budget, but basically start off, with some fun foundational building blocks that allow us to work together and learn together and build out a product roadmap that essentially could be introduced to the market, right? Again, if I'm talking with a startup company, I'm saying, hey, as a startup person myself, I couldn't survive without ChatGPT, right? It's not the fact that I'm using ChatGPT to think for me. It's like I said earlier, enabling me to move quicker because I have the background and I know what to put into the tool. I know the prompts to use and how to use the tool to get the results that I need to. And so really, a lot of our service is not only the delivery of the actual technology solution, But you know, it is the education, it's the consultation that comes along with it. We like to become true partners to our clients, and our clients have ranged from, like I say, mom and pop shops all the way up to holographic experiences that we've done at the Super Bowl just recently. And so, you know, we've been across the board, and you know, we've been able to scale in terms of focusing on the different disciplines. There's tools that we can use for marketing and sales. We have a team of developers at the ready, you know, that can deploy any type of technology. But, you know, my business partner and I, we focused on, well, what is the future, right? What is innovation, right? What's 5G technology? How are grids, you know, being built to take advantage of 5G, right? What is a smart city? What are smart solutions? That's kind of the conversations that we've been having. And, you know, we're able to distill that down to the level of organizations that need those tools.
Well, Brian, let's get practical here. You know, when in my classes, I would have the person from Dell who did advertising to come in, and when she put up all of her slides, it was all equations. And I'm gonna give you a very interesting kind of solution. As a matter of fact, I work with a guy here who does web pages, and his mentor is head of IBM Austin, who's also a Jaguar, a great Jaguar. And but if I come to you and I say, look, you know, I have an average enterprise, but I want you to put me all over the World Wide Web to introduce my advertising for me, because to me, on the web page, it used to go there like the yellow pages in the old days, which you don't remember, or it used to go like a magazine, which you don't remember. But now it is very, very interactive. Tell me how you can increase my revenue. As an average business that's making $1 million a year, I'm selling stuff. Tell me about the algorithms. Tell me about the patterns of how you think about individuals to increase my revenue from 1 million to 2.5 million.
Yep. So great question. I mean, it all starts with discovery, right? What we've got to do is go in and ask, you know, some probing questions like, who's your target market, right? You know, you say you're making $1 million in revenue. What's your goal in a year? Are you looking to 2X, 3X? What's working for you right now, right? What technology solutions are you currently using? Oh, you say you have a website, by the way.
I have a website. I mean,
Right.
I come to use WebEx, and I want you to improve my revenue. What do you tell me? What do I have to do? What has happened in the world that I need to know that I was doing wrong?
Yeah, well, is your site optimized, right? Do you have SEO, right? We use data, a lot of analytics, and a lot of models to basically say, are you successful? Are you converting clients that come to your website right now? Are you meeting the industry benchmarks, right? Depending on the business that you're in. If you're in a certain industry, you should expect X amount of customers to come to your website. And basically, we look at the flow of your website to say, is it efficient, right? Are they getting to the information that they need to get to in order to basically make the sale? It's not necessarily a funnel, right? But we say, would a funnel approach be sufficient for your business? And then,
yeah, Brian, one of the biggest unstructured problems, if you will, that I see in business enterprise is that I might have a business, I might have 1 million clicks, but only convert 0.5% of them or less. I might have every month, I might have 1,000 clicks, but only convert, you know, less than 0.5%. So as well, but what could you tell me as a customer when I come to you and to say, look, here's the deal. I want to look at my website. Why is it do I have so many people come to my website but don't come back?
you have poor engagement. That's the first thing I'm going to tell.
So what do you do? What do you do to my? Do you have an algorithm for that? Do you when I click on, do you bother me to death with you know, remember that you clicked on? So what do you do with that?
Everything really is based on the goal, right? Your goal being advertising and increasing clicks, right? So we got to say, we have to enhance your user interface. We've got to enhance your user experience. We've got to understand what sells, what makes people sell. Maybe your messaging on your website is wrong. You know, maybe some of the visuals are incorrect. From a technology perspective, maybe you're not leveraging, you know, things like chatbots, AI chatbots that keep the conversation going so that you don't have to have, you know, a person there, but you can start to engage site visitors as soon as they come. Are you
Mhm.
collecting the right amount of data when they come to your website to even be able to reach back out to them and have the multiple touch points, right? It's very comprehensive and it's really data driven, to be honest, John, because if you've got a million
Oh
people,
yeah, it's all data driven. I understand
yeah,
that.
you got a million people coming and you're only doing, a couple of hundred clicks, then, we're saying what you have right now isn't working. And then we use the data to make the decisions on what we need to do.
Okay, so you change my website and you put in the right algorithms, you put in the right crawlers and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
what's the biggest change you think that AI has had on your website business, on building the website? Is it made it easier? Is it more complicated? Is just you give it all to AI now and you don't have to work it out? What do you do?
Yeah, I mean, great question, right? You think about the development cycle, right? From planning and analysis to design, right? To, development and testing. And AI can help at every single one of those stages, from the research that you can do with the planning and analysis to helping to come up with some visuals to kind of accelerate the development process to, using code, that comes out of AI. And so definitely it's a part of our pipeline. It's one of the things that we encourage our customers to use as well. But it also goes back to understanding the need of the client, which is driven by the data decision. And then we can kind of, recommend the right approach to go into any customer that we work with.
I have one more question before I give it to my distinguished colleague. I'm taking Llewellyn's place. So given AI, do you think that your business is in the path of disruption? I
Of
mean, can
course.
I say, so right now, I can say write the equations. Here's the data set that I have. Write the equations for prediction for this company. Do you think I can say, my name is Johnson Butler, write, I'm block, do me a web page right now. Will AI do that for me?
Of course. Yeah. And so, the fact that you know how to ask that question is first and foremost, right?
Okay,
Again, if you think about people who are at different levels, they have
right.
different perspectives on the questions that they ask. A
Mhm.
startup business isn't going to ask the same question that an enterprise, CTO or executive team asks, right? And
Mhm.
so AI and the training models that are out there and, the different ways that they're being used, from generating media, right, to generating content, right, to giving feedback, to even writing organization models and plans. You may ask AI a question, do I have the right staffing model, to be able to compete, right? And that could be something that you hired somebody else to do, right? But at the same time, you can leverage your experience to say, hey, I need to be looking at how I can use some of these tools to basically
Mhm.
enhance the thoughts that I already have. So disruption, 1,000%, it's here. It's throwing the stock market all over the place, right? And
Mhm.
you get some news from DeepSeek or one of these other companies that just disrupts the world today. It's kind of like a couple of years ago. We think about Web3, right? And like NFTs, blockchain technology, like
Mhm.
that was really hot 3 or 4 years ago, right? And then it became oversaturated because too many people tried to get in without understanding how to really build the tools. Our approach is education and consultation, first and foremost, to say, this is how you can achieve success by using some of these tools without breaking the bank.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
so Brian, give me give me some perspective. It seems to me that as time goes on with digitalization, some of these companies, ChatGPT being the latest one, they go from zero to hundreds of millions of users in no time. Um, and I would suspect that with AI, you can do the work in, a half of the time, a third of the time, a quarter of the time. Give me perspective of how fast, how much acceleration do you see? A client comes to you, they want to, turn things around. How soon before they start seeing progress? Weeks, months? What does that timeline look like?
I think, most enterprises are realizing that they have to pilot into AI. And so
Mm-hmm.
they're not really looking for immediate returns today because they don't know exactly what the very right recipe is, right? When you're talking
Mm-hmm.
about, an enterprise, you may be talking thousands of employees, right? Data sets that are all over the place, right? Different departments, different needs, different tasks. And to just say, I'm going to slap an AI solution on top of all of that, is not the correct approach, right? Most executive teams are stepping back and saying, hey, how can we think about, how AI may enhance this process over here, or how AI may, increase, some efficiencies over here, right? And so what they're doing, again, is the pilot program approach, where they're really, taking a step back, figuring out how they can take all of that data, all of those resources, and then make their appropriate strategic decisions, right? And so a lot of times we like to have conversations at that level that you can't promise ROI or returns on AI. You just know that you need to be using it because, it is the future, right? And it's like other innovative technology that if you don't use it, where's the Sears and Roebucks, right? Where are the companies, where's the Blockbuster, right? Where they fail to innovate, or they fail to kind of pilot some of these new strategies, and then they got replaced by Netflix, right? We don't want our customers to be the Blockbuster of 2025. We're looking to 2040, 2050, you're in Texas, right? And so, we talk about the triangle: Austin, Dallas, San Antonio, Houston, right? And Texas being the 8th largest economy in the world, right? As big as it is right now, it hasn't even scratched the surface of how big it's going to be, right? So when you think about the fact that Dallas is going to have 4 million new people, right, in the next 20 or 30 years, why would I want to introduce some form of automation or intelligence that enhances the way that we run systems, versus our analog processes that we were so used to back in the day? We can't do it. It's not going to work.
Yeah.
Sure.
So you're talking about changes in communication, and they have really, really changed. So I have seen, one of the biggest changes I've seen all the advertising going to cell phones. When cell phones came out, I had no idea that I would not need my my laptop, at all. And so as you look at changes, talk to me about your industry. Talk to me about the competition in your industry, and talk to me about what do you see in the future for your industry. Will
Yeah,
websites undergo just, would it be like TikTok now? Will websites be like TikTok? Will it be will they go from static to more dynamic? In other words, will there more videos than simple information? Talk to me about the future of what you see as your business. Yeah,
content is king, right? And I think we live in a content gig economy, right? And so my business specifically has seen a large increase in the amount of competition. You got, I tell clients right now, you want to go get a website, go to Fiverr for $200 and get the website done. Are you going to get the answer that you need to grow your business? No, right? As a startup, I know the challenges that startups deal with. And what we do is comprehensive conversations. And so instead of saying, hey, I know you can get your website done for cheap, is cheap the right route to go? Now, there's a market for cheap, just like there's a market for any other product that's out there, where you have different targets, where people may want to, only spend a couple of $100. They may be willing to spend a couple of $1,000. But the data says that if you want professional design, there's a price that comes with that. Now, professional design to us, again, includes the education and the consultation, because we really want our customers to be versed and informed. I have very few clients, that I've worked with that didn't understand how they could potentially get to the next level, which is growth. Because if you go to a Fiverr, all they're going to give you is a website. And if you're competing in the TikTok market, you probably need a little bit more than that, right? And TikTok being kind of the state of the economy and how people think, microwave and things of that nature, it's so fast that if you aren't really keeping up with all of the different components that are needed, you'll fall far behind. And so the pace is definitely accelerated. It's definitely quickened, but what we figured out is a product that allows our customers to really understand how to be competitive in today's market and stay relevant for the future.
Right. I would say, Brian, that your biggest competitor is LinkedIn. Would you say that's true?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So what's the difference between LinkedIn, of course, is more professional, but in actuality, people ask, you say, well, do you know John Butler? Well, they don't Google him anymore.
Right. Go check out
What
his
do they
link.
do? They go to LinkedIn and try to do a relationship, right? Because
Yeah.
remember, it's all about relationship, not transactions. So how did you see a connection? Are you connected to LinkedIn from an algorithmic point of view? Uh, did you have you made a deal with LinkedIn to link all of theirs to your website? Because I would say from an individual level that if I want to look you up, I would look for your LinkedIn address and not your, your web
Yeah.
address. Is
Yeah.
that you think that's right?
Yeah, I think you're spot on, and
Mhm.
everything is relative to what you're trying to achieve, right? And so to answer your question, we've actually put together entire teams just based off of LinkedIn, right? For deals
Mhm.
that, are, very, very impactful type of deals, right? It's definitely a tool that we use. It's definitely a platform. I mean, we're meeting on LinkedIn right now, right? And, our audience is going to see this all over the world, right? And our thought is that we understand how different platforms engage users. People who are on LinkedIn are professionals, right? They're looking for, thoughtful conversation. They're looking for real solutions. And, our business has definitely embraced that.
Okay. All right.
So
So
when
because
I
yeah.
look at the tools, Brian, you've talked about some of them, and here's another summary of this thing. You've kind of rattled, chatbots and AI and blockchain, and you talked about web accessibility, responsive websites, push notifications. I mean, is this um, you know, again, I'm curious about the time to market, the acceleration, the SEO, how often. I mean, it seems like I remember, and Johnny may remember, somebody said to me these words that were very interesting. When I before websites, when information technology was in a company, it was really in the back office, and it had no front office. And everything was, you needed something from IT, and it took days, weeks, months. And then all of a sudden the web came, and then e-commerce came. And then the company had a front door that it was a glass house, and it was 24/7. um, Tell us about the dynamics between your relationship and the customer and the reality that the business is 24/7 now. What does that look like?
Yeah, great question, right? I mean, it's one of those things where we try to be very transparent in our conversations and realistic about goals, right? I'll go, to say a growth company, right? Say you're clearing, 500,000 and up, and you're looking to scale your business, right? Maybe you're looking to do some capital raises, right? Well, there's AI research tools out there, Plural, Phantom, right? Otter AI, that if I can introduce the thought, you know, you might need to use that tool and put together some different research models to even figure out how to scale your business, right? How to approach a pitch competition or something of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're a growing business, you may have come from a startup level and you're still
Mm-hmm.
kind of operating like a startup and you want to be an enterprise, right? But
Mm-hmm.
you don't have the tools, the resources, and innovation team, things of that nature to even be able to do that scale. So our value always is that, again, these candid conversations. If you're talking about an SEO campaign, going back to John, right? We use the marketing and advertising data. First thing you say, do you even have like any SEO going on, right? Is it working for you? If not, then it takes 3 to 6 months, right, to build a working campaign. I'm not going to go in and tell my client that you'll get 100 clicks overnight. I'm going to tell them and educate them on the fact that SEO is an iterative process, and we can help you develop the content with AI and or just our own insights from what we've seen in business. We can help you build kind of a strategy for your
Mm-hmm.
SEO campaign, and then we can actually deploy it for you, monitor it for you, tweak it as we go to achieve the results. And we've got a client right now. They're in downtown LA. We did a campaign for them 7 years ago, and they're still ranking in the top 3 based off of some of the strategies that we implemented. So I mean, we've been around long enough to kind of see the growth of some of these technologies, and the most exciting
Mm-hmm.
for us is that we see how AI can take it to an even greater level. But a lot of the people that we talk with are still kind of, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, right? They don't really understand exactly how some of these tools will benefit them. And that just creates an opportunity for us to educate.
Yeah. I was going to share real quick, Johnny, I'm sharing all these tools and sites. And it struck me, Johnny, that this tool 11 Canva, sort of a PowerPoint killer, and Microsoft PowerPoint now has, with Copilot and they have a new tool now that competes with Canva, but that's a unicorn right there, $1 billion idea, right? And you have all these tools and it's obviously Slack got acquired by Salesforce, I believe. But HubSpot's another one that we use, and you have all these things, and in Gusto, I use Gusto for our financials at the company. So Brian, when you think about the choices, how do you internally, do you have a couple of guys that are whiz bang guys that are looking for the next tools all the time, and then they come to you and they make a presentation about, hey, we should be using this tool? How does that process work internally as you are, kind of assimilating new tools, new solutions? How do you stay up?
Yeah, so we stay relevant by being in the middle of the conversation. So literally, the digital roundtable is the example of that, right? That if you're, familiar with like innovation districts, right? And the concept of like how innovation districts add economic benefit to different cities, we see people flocking to these big cities all the time because that's where the innovation is happening. I stay in Dallas. We've got some of the top companies in the world that are scratching, jumping at the bits to get here, right? And so by being, on different boards, hosting different panel conversations, right? Always kind of keeping myself tethered to the conversation. Leverage the research. So John, you'll like this part. We love going after, partnerships with institutions, colleges. Southern University, I have been an advocate and a partner of Southern my entire life, and I still work with them to this day, because they have the capacity to be able to do the research, right? And so for us, my business partner and I, we've been very fortunate to kind of be at the head of some of those conversations, or at least in the room. We go to a lot of conferences to kind of keep our ears to the ground. And then we make, strategic decisions to say, hey, maybe we can start going down the path of looking at this tool or that tool or that tool. But I mean, let's go back to the example that you gave, right? You look at UX research and you see Canva, Figma, all of these tools that are on there. If I tell a company right now, hey, you can probably get a lot of efficiency by doing Canva, I bet 50% of the time, 60% of the time, they're going to say, what is Canva, right? And then, it's an automatic no-brainer for me, right? That I can create world-class graphics for you in a matter of seconds, right? And now I've got you hooked because I've given you value, right? And so I think it's like there is too many people out here not to be able to give value, and we just want to be in the conversation of how to increase value and then create that feedback where we see the workforce development process happen. We see K through 12 programming happen. We're working with institutions who are working with the industries to develop the actual technologies for the future. We're in those conversations. We appreciate being there. And, it's just one of those things that we love to do.
Yeah. Johnny?
I think you are in a very, very dynamic communication. I don't think you're in the web business. I think you're in the communications business. I think you're in the communication business. What I mean by that, knowing what business you're in is very, very important. And I think the website is constantly undergoing, different kinds of parameters, based on the technology, whether it's AI or whatever have you. So I'm going to rename your company WebEx Dynamic Communications.
Okay. Look. John's my new partner now, right? Look.
We got us trombone players. We got to stick together. So
look,
anyway, anyway, now what I'm saying is that, you know, if you go back and look at, you know, when the Pony Express started, they had a lot of horses, right? They
Yeah.
had a lot of horses. They had a lot of stations, and they were raising money on horses and stations. And somebody invented the telegraph. Well, they were
Hmm.
not in the horse business. They were not in
Hmm.
the station business. They were in the communication business.
Yeah. Yeah.
When they asked, you know, the big quotation, they asked Henry Ford, what do your patients, I mean, what do your customers want? They want a faster horse, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So Ford was not, and my great friend Herb Kelleher, I mean, who gave me 10 million for my Herb Kelleher Center. I said, Herb, what are you going to do when we start fast trains between cities in Texas? Oh, I'm not in the airplane business. I'm in the movement of people business.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those airplanes will be junked. You are not in the quote traditional website business. You are in the communications business. Okay.
Look, that's general across the board though, right?
Yeah.
McDonald's doesn't just sell hamburgers. Why do they have a McDonald's on every single corner? Right? It's real
Because
estate.
people will not cross the street.
It's real estate, right? I
It's
mean,
real estate. And look, and the other thing is that Starbucks is not about coffee. It's about people meeting.
exactly.
So know
Exactly.
what business you're in. I mean, you played Trump. Can I share the screen, Andreas?
Yeah, yeah, please.
I mean, if you play, if I invite you in 2 minutes, can you see this right here?
Oh yeah.
Can you see that?
Man, that's
Yep, yep.
awesome.
You know what that is?
That's the Tiger Band.
That means that this thing that's my mother. This is 1960s. I don't know, 8, I guess. But my point is this: that trombone. You know, great thing about trombone, we sliding up and down. Everybody else is standing still, right?
Hmm.
And so what you have to do now is you need to slide up and down, right, rather than just standing still. So we're going to rename that. So when you talk about it after digital roundtable here, we're going to move you more to dynamic communications and web pages.
It sounds like we've already got an extended conversation and maybe a joint venture going here
No,
that we need to
no,
go
really.
through.
But you see what I'm saying, right?
I do.
So
There's always
Andreas would tell you that he's in the business of making. He's in the grid business, but actually he's in the smart business.
yeah.
It doesn't
Yeah.
matter if it's a grid, doesn't matter if it's a house, it doesn't matter if it's anything. And Brian, I ran into a guy the other day that's making the human body through sales smart. So the sales can actually talk to you as they move around and develop in the body, right? So I just want to say that about about your company. And the
Yeah.
other thing I want to really ask you about is that the international is very interesting to me. Uh,
Hmm.
Websites now, international, we can hook on. What does your international business look like, or do you get international business? And then I'm gonna ask you about, do you know what's going on with China and what they're doing with websites? Those are 2 questions. Yeah.
Yeah. So on the international front, 1,000%. So we were honored about 4 or 5 years ago
Mhm.
to be invited to Stockholm, Sweden, for the Brilliant Minds Conference. And there, we found the fact that we were in the room, right? And we understood how to have the conversation to deliver services. And we opened up a lot of pipelines for business, in
Mhm.
London, in Stockholm. We got some things going on in India with some partners that we have over there. And so we've been pretty fortunate to kind of open up those doors. I want to get to Africa, just for personal reasons, as well as just the fact that there's a lot going on there. The geopolitics of it all, we kind of understand what China is doing, in terms of their privacy, their security, their protection of their IP, right? And we keep a close eye to that. And it's very interesting to say the least, right? You talk about the World Wide Web, then you talk about some of the geopolitics that go along with obscuring data, some of the social engineering that goes on in terms of the information. There's, for example, there's 2 different TikToks, right? There's one for America, there's one for China, right? And the information that they get, you know, seems similar to all the books that you have behind your head, right? Whereas, you know, I question often the information that's going on our feed because it's feeding a different narrative, right? And so it concerns me, which is why I think these type of conversations are important, because we have to, if we're going to be viable in the future, we have to be able to kind of protect and project, you know, what's important.
Okay, good. I think it's very interesting because, as I said before, I think it's business is now very dynamic. And I said that because I was a management consulting for years for a major insurance company. We were not an insurance company. We were a financial company. I mean, it was, you know, as much insurance that we, actually State Farm that we did, we're a financial services company, right? Because we could be anything that we want to be, right? We can do anything that we want to be. So you take a company like a company like yours, right? That's really, really interactive. You have the algorithms. You can be anything you want to be. You could be an advertising firm tomorrow if you wanted to. You could take all your algorithms and go to the major firms in America or international, and that's why I asked that question. And all of a sudden, you're not just a web service, right? All of a sudden, what are you? You're an advertising firm for the largest firms in the world.
Yeah, yeah.
So because of technology, you know, I gave a talk to the business mortgage people in Austin, Texas now. All the businesses can be the same. I mean, Microsoft can be a bank tomorrow if they wanted to.
Can we do something real quick? You guys have had the opportunity to share some things. Can we pull up my website real quick?
Well, yeah, you can pull up your website.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Let me see. So
now I got him thinking, Andreas, wait a minute. You know, 512 CMG charges for this information I'm giving out. So we need to
listen. Alex Hermosi said, give, then ask. You know, to your point, right? We spent a lot of time over the years learning all of these different technologies, right? You know, at first we were developing, you know, Wix websites, Squarespace, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then we started to understand that a lot of these different solutions are exactly what companies are looking for. And it's not just website development, right? And so what we do, you know, primarily is say, hey, we focus on innovation solutions. That could be anything that you need. You could be graphics, it could be communication, it could be marketing, it could be web, whatever the case is. We've done it. We've had partners in the past like Pepsi, Broad. We did a augmented reality installation for the National Battle of the Bands that got picked up by Adweek all the way in New York. We didn't talk to them. They didn't reach out, but they saw our augmented reality experience, and they said, hey, these guys are kind of on the cutting edge of things. And so, you know, we love the challenge, right, of understanding where different businesses are in their business cycle and then producing solutions for them.
Right.
Absolutely.
So
yeah, Brian, I was going to ask you before. I'm looking at the time here, and I didn't want to miss one element of the journey here, which is cybersecurity. How paramount is that? And does cybersecurity trump everything? Or how do people go about the notion of exposure 24/7, opening my commode and sharing all kinds of information? And how do I keep that balance with cybersecurity? And how much of a challenge is that for you guys?
It's a free market economy, right? And so you kind of flow with the decisions of the market. We tell people about cybersecurity, and some people just don't care, right? As long as they're making money, it's like they already got my data anyway. Whereas, you know, other parts of the market do care, right? And so aligning kind of the level of concern directly with the client needs, we're going to educate you. We're going to tell you what you need to know. And then it's a free world. Look, they told us a couple of years ago, TikTok was stealing our data, right? And the market said, we don't care. We're making money off of it, hand and foot. We're just going to roll with it. And hopefully, you know, we can weather the tides of all of this other stuff. So, you know, we offer it as a service. We articulate the importance of it. We understand it. We implement it, you know, but the market does what the market wants to do.
Got it. Brian, what's in front of you the next 6 months and your parting thoughts? You got some conference coming up. You launching any new services or products, feel free to share.
Yeah, we're really big in the transit space. And so, we between DART, between, LA, like we're looking at, some different conferences that we want to go to kind of keep our conversations and our ears open to what's happening in transit. Airport solutions, we're looking to, do some immersive experiences there. Education from an institutional perspective, really looking to see how we can get into some of these government contracted grant opportunities to help the future understand how to adopt what is now. So yeah, we definitely look forward to doing that all this year. John, I'm writing that book, so I'm going to write a book, and it's going to fit right there, right behind your head once I publish it this year.
Well, I want you to know this is before the web came out. I'm a professor. That's my home office, but every one of them are digital now.
Nice.
Right.
Well, you are like me, my friend. I still enjoy the hardback experience. I
do.
love the book, and so yeah, I keep one on me at all times.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's absolutely wonderful. Yeah. Well, good. I think it's good, and I think you have a great business. I sent you an email with my telephone on it. When we hang up, we'll talk some more, though.
For sure.
I think I think that everybody that 512 works with need a web page.
Yep.
And we need to talk.
Absolutely. Brian, thank you for your time, and stay in touch, and we'll have you back. And Johnny, take us away.
Oh, Southern, dear Southern, thy praises we shall sing.
Yeah.
Until all the heavens and echoes loudly ring. The winds of the sky as they pass us by.
Yep.
Real adoration bring.
Hey man, look, Dr. Griggs would be so proud of you.
Thy name shall ever be as mighty as the river that rolls into the sea, as pure, true as the golden blue that stands out bold for thee.
All right.
I'm showing this to my wife.
My mother was
She's gonna love this part of it.
My mother was Miss Southern, and I love the school. But okay, Andreas. Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
Hey, Brian, call me. I sent you an email. Just call me.
Okay, I'll give you a call.
Okay, all right.
Bye, guys.
Later.
Thank
Bye.
you. Thank you.
Thank you.